It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, which really this was supposed to be on Monday, but since StreamYard took it on my life, now it's on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate all of you guys joining us to talk about the Snow Queens of Salt Lake City. But of course, as you know, I can't do this on my own. Let me move my mic. Okay. Obviously, I can't do this on my own, so I'm going to go ahead and invite up two special guests. You might know them. They're always with me, especially out here in these YouTube streets. Guys, Kempire and Jason.
What's going on?
How's it going, Kempire? How's the trip?
Well, it's rainy and cold right now, but I was prepared for that. Amsterdam's weather is very bipolar. But so far, I've just been trying to catch up on some sleep and getting myself set up for doing, work.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot, especially because you just literally landed in Amsterdam and you're like, as soon as you walk in, I don't even know if you looked at like the bedroom or the place, the Airbnb, what you looked at. I feel like you were just like, where the f***'s the Wi-Fi? I got to get back to work.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate good hard work ethic around here. Obviously, yesterday StreamYard took a shit on my life. And Salt Lake City had to be rescheduled, but we're back to talk about it today. Kempire, I'll start with you. If you had to rate this week's episode a 1 to 10, given everything that happened, Jen Shah, Meredith seemingly making up, Mary Cosby still being in her house and really not filming with anyone, meeting our newbie, which they snuck Angie Harrington in here out of nowhere. Nobody even knew she was coming. And then Lisa Barlow allegedly sabotaging the event. What were our thoughts?
My second time watching it this morning, this Amsterdam time, I was like, this was an actually really entertaining episode. I was actually surprised at how entertaining. So if I had to rate it, I would probably give it a solid 8, maybe even an 8.5.
Okay. All right. And Jason?
I'm going to say 8.5. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
So good. I have to agree with you guys. And I want to ask everybody in the chat too. Guys, again, if you haven't smashed that like button, go ahead. But answer in the live chat, what did you rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? I'm going to give it a solid 8 as well. And, when Jason and I, obviously, Kempire, you too, when you're watching Potomac and Salt Lake City back to back, it kind of feels like work at some point because you're like, is this going to be a good episode this week? If it's not, we still have to cover it. I hope there's something interesting. And both episodes this week really had my attention. I was like, shit, Potomac did the damn thing. And then Salt Lake City over here. So I'm going to start with this. We pick up where we left off, and this woman, where is she? Where are you? Here she is.
Oof, speaking of bipolar.
Okay. Oh. Don't call Meredith bipolar.
I wasn't calling Meredith. I'm calling Jen Shah because in 1 second, she's, the victim screaming and yelling and lashing out. And then like 2 minutes later, she comes back after Stuart gives her a pep talk to apologize. It's like nothing ever happened. It's always like that.
Well, it was interesting because she starts flipping out and she's getting pissed off. And we've seen, this isn't new behavior. We've seen this before from Jen. She goes from one extreme to the other. We've seen this multiple times, and people, it seems like her castmates are afraid to have any sort of concerns or conversations that might trigger her in any kind of way. So with this, Jen Shah sees that Meredith Marks is disengaging. Lisa Barlow is walking after her. Jen Shah's flipping out on Lisa Barlow, saying, go with your fucking friend. And then Whitney is trying to just tell Jen, listen, if you're hearing it from Heather about social media and you're hearing it from Meredith and we're all telling you, maybe you should listen for a second. You, Whitney. I was like, God.
It's so funny, and I don't even mean to jump ahead at all, but it's so funny because you see the same behavior from Lisa Barlow at the end of the episode when she's questioned about anything. She does that whole crying, running, screaming kind of thing. And deflection, and it just doesn't make anyone look good if you're deflecting. Just deal with it. Be honest. She couldn't even do that. So
okay,
I wonder why they want to be friends.
It's like a casebook narcissist. That whole interaction, you're just looking. First of all, you already know how I feel about Meredith and this whole storyline this season. But despite that part of it, Jen Shah is just obnoxious. She's very hard to watch, especially in those particular moments. I enjoyed her at the casino party because she wasn't talking a lot.
Okay. Okay. Well, You know, one moment that shocked me a lot here, I guess, for this scene is that we're seeing Stuart so much that I'm like, okay, this is shady Bravo editing because they know, and I think we talked about this, Kempire, we're seeing Stuart so much this season, and I'm like, and when he's the voice of reason, and then when she took her tennis bracelet and then threw it, and Lisa Barlow was like
$70,000 tennis
honestly,
bracelet.
I think it was. I think if she
$70,000, like it was a $10,000 bat mitzvah. I mean, those numbers were probably switched. That there's no way. I'm just going to take it off and throw it.
You know why I believe it? And this is just speculation. This is
not... it stolen?
You don't know that. You be
allegedly with other people's money.
But here's the thing. Here's why I feel like she could just throw that away. First of all, she's just obnoxious when it comes to money. Probably very much like Erika Jayne. Probably worse. But it's also another way of getting rid of stuff.
Okay, conspiracy theory over here. She's like, take the bracelet. No, why? She wouldn't do that.
I'm trying to get rid of it, Lisa. I'm trying to get rid of it.
I would be burying it in the backyard of Chalet 2.0. And then when the new inhabitants, the new people who moved into the Chalet 2.0, when I ended up getting out of jail, if I did go to jail, if I were in this position, which not saying she will, because we don't know, she still has not been found guilty, but I would be digging a 10-foot hole and putting a shoebox full of all of this shit in there. I would be like,
she can't have any sort of connection. She's lived there. She's on legal paperwork that she's lived at this place. If she's out at this place where there's just snow, she doesn't have any liability.
Okay, but also the snow is going to eventually
melt.
I was going to say, I was like, deteriorate. No, it's not. It melts, you asshole. So melt and then go from, it's going to be a lake again. I don't know. That's a great conspiracy theory, but I'm not buying it, Kempire.
I don't know. My favorite part, and I don't know if this was like production, but my favorite part about that whole scene was just watching Whitney and Heather sit aside like little hens talking about what's going on. Oh God, I thought that was funny. Heather, what did she say? I'm not. What did she say? I'm not going to go on the weak side of the ice because I lied about my body weight.
I was dying in that moment. I was like, I love Heather because she just says shit. Like, she's not. I feel like even though I love Meredith on the show, I love Jen on the show. I hate what's going on in her life. And if this is all true, I hate that too. But there's a few people that I actually like their personalities on the show, but I feel like they try to have this persona. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Heather is just like, I want meatball on a stick. No, girl, I lied about my body weight and somebody needs to get lip fillers because I have to pay my bills. She's just Heather.
You're right. Though that side conversation, I didn't even realize that Heather is dab smack in the middle of the lineup. I was like, and she deserves it. All that Absolutely. Side conversation, even Whitney gives me very much Stephanie Holman from Dallas in regards to her confessional. She's just so funny. She doesn't have much of a storyline, but I'm okay with it because she's shady in her confessionals.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree with that. All right. Well, I want to get over to this kind of hidden gem that we didn't even know about. And guys, if you've been following my channel for over a year, then you would know when the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, when they were coming out, I did a meet the cast kind of video, and Angie Harrington was in it for the first season. She actually filmed some scenes as a friend of, and they ended up cutting her out of every scene except for the Lisa Barlow scene where it was her event with women empowering women, right? Now we get her back this season, and we're finding out she's a very successful entrepreneur when it comes to fashion and on social media. She's an influencer. Her husband's successful. They have a trans child, and they want to give back to charity. So I already like her. Already, right out of the gate, I like her. And she's just very like, this is who I am, straightforward, especially with her friend Lisa Barlow, which is kind of hard to get. That's a very Lisa Rinna move to bring in a friend and then have that friend kind of, I don't know, like usually you feel like they stick together. Anyways, she's telling Lisa Barlow that she has this event and she's so excited about it. They have the caterer, they have everything going on. Okay, cool. Moving forward, from there she says, oh, by the way, with Whitney, what is your problem with Whitney? Do you have a problem? Is everything okay? She's like, no, I just feel like she hates me. Every time I talk, I feel like she just doesn't like me. She's like, well, Whitney and I are cousins, right? How the hell? And she said, what kind of incestuous polygamous shit is this? And I was like, can she say that? Is she allowed to say that?
She's Mormon. She can say it.
Yeah, she can say it. I mean, come on. We talked about this. I don't know what it was on last night's live or something, but we have so many family members being Mormon. Like, you went to my family reunion, we had 150, where 300 were supposed to show up, and that's not even the full batch of them. So can you imagine if that's just my family, if other people's families are the same way?
Are you saying that you're related to Whitney Rose?
Who knows at this point?
Yeah, you actually could
everyone.
You could be related to Whitney at this point. All right, well, we found out, obviously she thinks that she's related in some capacity, thanks to ancestry, blah, blah, blah. But then let's fast forward again. We end up seeing Whitney meet up with Angie Harrington, and they have a conversation, and Angie's upset because her caterer has canceled on her. So we're all like, what do you mean your caterer canceled on you, and why? She said 5 hours after Lisa Barlow exited my house, I got a message, and this is what it said. Well, Lisa Barlow is saying this is not true. She said, if you're going to read a text message out loud, make sure you're not improvising. # I've got receipts. Lisa's like, I know how this shit goes. I keep all my receipts. And then she went on to let us know that even though the caterer canceled on her, which we talked about this last night in Hot Messy Topics, but even though the caterer canceled on her, he still had his brother show up and cater the event. But Jason said that there were some red flags for him out of all of this. So what was that?
I mean, first of all, I'm sure whoever was catering it, if they had that relationship with Lisa, and this happened like right after the conversation, so that is one red flag. 2, the excuses were that they were opening like a new restaurant or something and got so busy and tied up. If you're opening a big restaurant, or you have this coming up, you wouldn't commit to catering a party of that size. And there wasn't really any food. The only thing that I saw was Vida Tequila, and like I said on yesterday's live, it wasn't even like Reposado, it was like Blanco. And I don't know if I would want to drink
that.
You
have to lay off of her Vida Tequila. You always go in on her.
Well, oversaturated market, and I'm sure it's not that great. So
okay, well, that's very glass half empty. So Sunny, thank you so much. I love that. I love that. I love that. And also, Sunny loves Vida Tequila. Okay, all right. Well, Naomi said the caterer probably canceled because they found out Whitney would be there. I mean,
but it's crazy to me because if Lisa and Angie have been friends for so long, since she's like 16 or 17 years, it just seems, are you guys really friends, or have you just known each other a very long time? Because the way that they flipped on each other so easily, that's not friends, at least not to me.
Lisa reminds me of Kyle Richards. She's going to like jump to each side that, whatever works better for her.
I agree with that.
That's how I feel. So I don't know if the friendship is that deep, like you said, Kempire. I just feel like she's just playing whatever side she needs to like, I don't know.
Well, and I feel like Lisa also is probably a little bit worried this season because even though she has her friend Meredith Marks, there's obviously kind of this disconnect here. And then she's really taking up for Jen Shah, who has a problem with everybody in the group. So I feel like Lisa doesn't really know where she stands at this point, but she is kind of like Kyle Richards, and in the fact that Kyle Richards was the one who helped production find all of these women for the first season of Beverly Hills. And Lisa Barlow was that same figure for Salt Lake City who found all of these women. And
Lisa's boring.
Well, and I don't know, but
I think Lisa's talent though is that networking, kind of bringing people together, meeting people, getting to know people. I think that's Lisa's talent. I don't know if necessarily, the show is.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to need you to stop shading Lisa Barlow, please. Thank you. All right. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. We're going to move on to the party because we went to Mary Cosby's house. I didn't find really anything crazy interesting about it. She's just talking to her son. I mean, did I miss something at Mary Cosby's house?
No.
Poor Mary.
I did enjoy Mary Cosby, though. I did enjoy her.
I do too. I have to say, I really enjoy her this season.
I'm trying.
Not like last season when I was going on her real hard, just like I am Lisa now. Now I'm really enjoying Mary and all her nuances.
Was that before or after she pooted?
It was before. Oh, right here, the picture. Yeah. It looks like she's about to.
Oh God. Okay. All right. So let's move just straight into the party because that was probably the most interesting part of this episode. They were doing a charity event for Encircle, and the way they had this set up, there are two things that blew my mind. One, Jen Shah's point to the fact that they are still very much so in the Mormon community. So getting like a gambling, a table, a craps table, a poker table, all of this alcohol, and they're just a couple blocks away from the Mormon temple. It was like, oh shit, you're probably not supposed to be doing this. And she was shocked. And then also
It wasn't from the temple. They were near Provo, so where BYU is, and BYU is a Mormon school, an LDS school that is very strict with what they allow on the campus. So that's what Jen Shaw was referring to. Like, we're right down the street from where like college kids can't even be college kids, and we have a poker table, liquor, all happening here.
Yeah, but this couple have left the church too because of their lack of evolution when it comes to the LGBTQI plus community.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And we'll get to that in a second too. But I was blown away by the level of, the quality level of this party. It was so over the top. This was easily, with everything there, this was easily a $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 party because they even had custom signs outside. Everything was just transformed. I was like, okay, this is
no food.
Yeah. Yeah. But I approve. And also the fact that she had $1 million donation.
Yeah,
was massive.
That's money.
That is, yeah.
There's money there.
Have we seen that anywhere else?
There's money there. No.
We have not seen something like that. We didn't see that at Kyle's big charity, any of her charity events that we've seen over the years. $1 million? I was like, come on.
It's so interesting to me because I was reading a headline on Page 6 the other day, and they're like, Kim Kardashian donates $3,000 to a woman's GoFundMe. And I was like, Kim Kardashian is making triple that per second of her daily life. Even though, like I said this to Jason, and Jason's like, well, she donates all over the place. Like, she's always giving back all over.
Remember how much she gave to the firefighters in LA County? She gave, like, I think $300,000, $500,000.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, she helped rehome 2 families. I don't know. How do I know this? I don't even watch her like the Kardashians. But she helped rehome 2 families from firefighters who lost their homes into new homes. She bought them new homes. So she can do whatever she wants with her money, And I wonder $3,000, $5, whatever.
And I wonder how much she spends in a year when it comes to charitable donations. Probably millions.
Well, yeah.
Much
and
as she needs to write off.
Yeah, I was about to say.
That part. Come on. Come on.
Kris Jenner is no dummy. She's over here. She's like, you get $1 million. You get $1 million. She's like, Uncle Sammy, you're not getting shit. Right? All right. Charming said, Jason, did you ever find a store that sells Vita? I have tried in Copenhagen, but cannot find it. She really has to.
Oh, it's not, and that's not going to be international. Let me tell you, it's not even out of state. I think the only time it went out of state was when it went to California for like a minute. And apparently, okay, so Marae, who's one of our mods, she found it in Northern California. I've had a friend find it in Southern California. Nowhere else. If you go to Total Wine and you try to look for it in different, like sometimes I'll randomly do zip codes and do like Dallas or like Florida or wherever. And it's like, it's not. So maybe she just, the distribution is off.
You know who we need to ask about this one day is Zach. I need to ask Zach, how easy is it to get, well, I don't even know if Zach's Rosé is in stores yet or if he's just selling it online, which would make more sense if he's selling it online because he's selling it straight to consumer and he would be keeping a lot more money as opposed to having a lot of it ripped away from him by putting it on shelf, because anyone knows who watches Shark Tank, when you put shit on a shelf, it costs more money. Okay. Just saying. But I am curious. I want to pick his brain about that. How hard is it to distribute all of this out there? Because Lisa Vanderpump did that like this. All of a sudden,
it was at Costco, CVS, Publix.
But same thing. Bethany Frankel did it like this. Like they were very on it, but also they
had level.
Yeah, but they also had that platform for longer. You know what I mean? A longer time. True. So Lisa Barlow just got here, and she's still trying.
I'm making my goal. I will find it by. Give me 2 weeks. I'm gonna have it. I'll have it for one of our lives.
Told me to check Amsterdam.
I saw that.
Like, okay.
Well, I wouldn't waste your trip on that. But
right to Amsterdam and Park City.
Vita tequila. Imagine I find it though. That'd be hilarious.
Oh God, I'd look so bad.
I would love for you to make Jason eat his words.
Yeah. Tequila for a while, even before the show, or is this very, very new?
I'm gonna look it up right now. How long?
But that needs to be a question that we ask Andy when he posts the infamous tweet gathering questions for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. That needs to be a question because I think he would ask that softball question. Just saying.
It's been around since 2007. It says John and Lisa Barlow of Draper launched.
Someone says they've seen it in Canada.
They launched it in 2007, and since then, the premium brand has slowly been building a name in restaurants, bars, and liquor stores in New York, Chicago, and other East Coast cities. 7 months ago, the small boutique spirits company started selling its tequila in Utah.
So you should start tagging us when they find it and post it on Instagram and tag us.
Yes, you should do #FoundVita, and we'll know what to go look for. That way,
isn't Marae coming out here to Florida? I'm gonna ask her to just bring it. I'll Venmo her. Well, at least we can try it.
She said that she would send us some. And honestly, when I heard about Skinny Girl Margarita, I was like, this is gonna taste like. And then I tried it one night because it was New York premiere, so it was only right that my friend that I was watching the premiere with, that we got Skinny Girl Margarita, and we're like, dude, this shit is, I'm so mad that I love this. I love it.
Ooh,
yeah.
Really?
It's so good. And also, like I said, Vanderpump's Rosé, it's not because it's Lisa Vanderpump. I could care less about that. I'm finicky about my Rosé. That's one thing, because it gets too sweet, it gets too whatever. That shit is amazing.
Really?
It's good. And it's ever evolving too. They're changing it every year. So
yeah, she literally sends her daughter, she doesn't send her daughter anywhere. Her daughter has her own money, but her daughter
runs all the wine. Pandora runs all the wine stuff. I know we're getting so off track, but
no, but it's okay. We'll jump back into the party. But her daughter goes with her husband, Jason, because they run the company, and they go to Provence and they go testing and trying grapes, and they look at the soils, and they get down to every detail. And then she comes back and she's like, this is our new rosé. These are the notes. You better know everything. Try it. What did you get out of that? Well, I got like, it was a little oaky. She's like, there's nothing fucking oaky about it. Next. What did you get out of that? And I'm like, I hate doing wine testing with her, but she knows her shit. So she's not the one to go out about it. Anyways, getting back to Salt Lake City, I want to talk about this moment because it gets a little bit heated right here.
Oof.
Okay.
This is the moment I was talking about. Yes. Well, okay. That check. Absolutely.
Did you say you like the dress or don't?
No, I don't.
It looks like a pink version of the Christmas tree that Mary Cosby wore.
I didn't like that either.
Okay. Well, you have to be more open-minded with your fashions, Kempire. I'm over here and I'm a fashion connoisseur. Going out.
You're not. Less is more. Okay. Less is more. That's just too much. Adam, you know all about less.
Okay.
This was the moment I was talking about, though, where when now I'm confusing them because they're acting like the same person this episode. When Lisa is confronted, by the when she's confronted, she does that whole like deflection thing.
Yeah.
So she starts crying. She runs away. I can't do this. I can't stand that.
Well, she does her deflection thing, but also, it was interesting because when Angie says to her, my caterer canceled, this is what everyone else, is feeling. Everyone kind of thinks that, well, this all points to you. And she just gets really worked up really quick. She's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go get Meredith. What the hell does Meredith have to do with this?
She doesn't know what you're talking about, but she made that comment on the way in when she wasn't even inside the party. She was outside when she made the comment about the food. So, like, how are you already?
Literally got in the door.
But barely. 2 seconds. Come on.
Yeah. Says a lot.
I mean, I think Lisa Barlow got caught red-handed here. And I think Angie Harrington handed her an out when she's like, how's your relationship with Meredith? Is it good? And then she used that moment. And she's like, Meredith! And like takes off and storms off because that gives her a second to process what is she going to say next to Angie, because now she got caught in the situation that looks really sketch for her. And now she also knows, looking back at this is going to play out on film. And it looks like she sabotaged, which is what the headline said, an LGBTQIA+ event, which does not look good.
Well, according to Lisa, there was no food. There was no food and no Whitney.
Well, there was food. Okay. There was food, and Coach Shaw was eating the food. Mary was over here eating the food. Heather was over here eating the food. I was seeing food. Everybody was trying the food. So there was something, but it just wasn't the original caterer that she ordered. She ordered the caterer, and it was almost like you order it online versus like in person. It was like one of those. But it still looked good, and she still raised over $1 million. So I'm not shading that. But what got awkward here was Jen Shaw walks in. Okay, Lisa Barlow's okay with Jen Shaw walking in. She invited Meredith in. And then all of a sudden, poor Whitney walks in. And she's like, what are you doing here? What the hell do you mean? The production team obviously went over to her and said, hey, Whitney, now's your chance. Get in there. And she walked over with her 80s glam Barbie, whatever this is, casino, and was like, hi, I'm here, like Stephanie Holtman.
They look a lot alike. They might be really cousins. They look a lot alike in that photo. Look at them.
Kind of. I mean, Angie Harrington has a look, and I don't know who is it. It kind of, she gives me like Sarah Paulson vibes a little bit.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's who she looks like to me. Sarah Paulson and Lisa Barlow. All right. So, okay. All right. So we're going to go around the room really quick before we move on. Do you think Lisa Barlow canceled the caterer? Just a simple yes or no. And guys in the live chat, go ahead and comment. Yes. She canceled it, or no, this was a misunderstanding.
This was a misunderstanding. No, I'm joking. Yes, she did. She told on herself. She told on herself. She definitely did. And she's a terrible human being for doing it. Not only for this amazing charity, but to a friend that she's known for decades. She's a terrible human being.
Kempire, that is so strong.
I have feelings about Lisa, now. But someone in the chat said Lisa told her friends that Whitney was going to be there. And it was the same caterer that I guess catered hers last season that she trashed so much. But I don't think she was really trashing last season. I'm not sticking it for Whitney here, but she wasn't trashing the catering. She was trashing the bartenders who didn't know what they were doing. And that was the one who was provided by Lisa. However, it doesn't matter. If you go to any event in Salt Lake, you're going to have the same people, the same, social groups, hanging out with each other. That would just be bad for business. And it was bad for business this time when it was a specific event that was raising money for a great cause. So I don't know. It doesn't look good for Lisa.
It doesn't look good for Lisa. No, I agree with that.
Lisa. I'm over Lisa this season. She brings nothing. She has no storyline. If anything, she's only brought the friends that we're starting to enjoy.
Yeah, casting.
Right, but I have to say though, when Lisa Barlow showed up in this red dress, she looked good.
I really thought you were gonna bring up a Lisa photo. I was like, oh
no, just
you know what? I have to say, Kyle has brought more than Lisa's brought, and this is only Lisa's second season.
Well, Kyle Richards is much more interesting.
I mean, okay, using the word interesting is a bit much for Kyle, but she's definitely more interesting than Lisa.
All right. Well, we didn't talk about one person who everyone's growing to love, her and her family, Jenny Wynn, and of course, her daughter, her kids. I don't know if I missed something, but I was so caught up in meeting the Sarah Jane woman and also Angie Harrington at the same time and kind of trying to piece together which one are they trying to introduce. Because again, when I did my first video about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 1 and who the cast would be, I talked about Sarah Jane and Angie Harrington, and then they both got phased out. But mind you, we all know it was one original production team who had Salt Lake City, and then they had to stop filming, and then a second production team took over because Mary Cosby wasn't even originally a full-time housewife. She was originally a friend of two, and the second production team was like, hell no, she's married to her grandfather. She's a full-time housewife. Okay. But I guess I was so caught up in this because I was shocked to see them that I don't remember what happened with Jenny Wynn.
Nothing.
There was really nothing, right?
But like you said, we have to also remember for this particular season, Jenny was supposed to be a friend of. So I think that's part of the reason why we don't have a lot of footage with her right now. But I think we'll see more. I think they're just giving us little parts of Jenny in the beginning because they didn't have a lot of footage to make sense for the timeline. So I think that is why we don't have a lot of Jenny. But what we've gotten so far, I'm already hooked on Jenny.
Right. I really like Jenny. And I'm curious because we know that Jen Shah's court date is in March. So I'm wondering if they're going to pick up filming again really quick in November, December and try to catch what those next moments look like, kind of like what they did with Teresa Giudice, and then still keep her on the show. And
I thought they were supposed to. Weren't they going to start filming around the same time as Beverly Hills?
Well, that's what we're hearing. That's all rumor, though. We haven't had anything confirmed. No. But I would think so. I think that
would make sense.
They're probably going to push it though as close to maybe 2 months or so before that court date, just in case the court date gets moved back again, because gets moved back again, because the whole purpose is going to be to catch Jen Shah going to court and seeing what the verdict is. And then
I think though, with the addition of Jenny and then potentially Angie Harrington, I think you're starting to form a group that can work without Jen Shah too. So that's
Lisa Barlow.
And Lisa Barlow. I mean, listen, if Lisa Barlow can stay relevant with Angie Harrington and that whole dynamic and maybe jumping around with friends, then.
Yeah, she's going to have to do something because Angie Harrington, I'm kind of questioning already why she's not getting a snowflake because I feel like she would really bring it, and she has no problem kind of getting in there and having these. Already, she's talking to Whitney, she's talking to Lisa. She has conflict in her first episode. I'm like, oh, she knows how this works. She watched season 1. She's already friends with these women. She knows all of them enough to invite them over for a charity event. She knows how to do the damn thing, and I think that she's coming like, oh, Jen, we'll see you later, but I'm taking your snowflake.
Oh. She might be taking her own friend Snowflake.
No,
not Lisa. No.
Very much like how Robin brought on Askale to replace her. That might be happening with Lisa.
Well, oh God.
We can only hope Askale replaces Robin.
Bronwyn did that with Noella Bergner.
And
so
Noella.
It's happened, but who's going to replace this?
No one.
Beautiful.
No one.
Maybe we should throw her in there.
No, in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Actually, no. I was going to say something else, but no, we're good. All right. Can you imagine all of a sudden they're like, season 3 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. The original Ice Queen shows up, and she is a full-time housewife. Welcome, Erica. I'd be like, how the hell are you going to get rid of Jen Shah, and you're going to bring Erica in here? Okay.
Very possible. You know, Bravo's trying to milk every last second of this entire situation any way that they can.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. So going into next week's episode, what are you looking forward to next or most, Kempire?
Next week, I need a little less of the Lisa drama because honestly, I'm not that interested unless it's involving the whole Angie situation. The Lisa and Whitney fight, I don't care. I don't care about their fight. I don't care about them getting along because I still don't understand why they don't get along.
Right.
I'm interested to see a little bit more of Heather. I love the Heather moments. Heather really brings a lot when it comes to the funny and the shade that we like on these Housewives shows. And I want to. When are we going to see the arrest? How long do we have to wait for the arrest?
Well, we're only on episode 4.
The whole season.
I bet you it's going to be like 5 or 6. No, it's not going to be 5 because we didn't get a preview for it. So it's probably going to be like 6 or 7, which is actually annoying because we told you, production, we're not here to play that shit. You guys gave us Erica in 4 episodes. And to be fair, I don't know what Lisa Barlow and Whitney's situation is either. But the fact that like I can see why Whitney gets ticked off. Like she's like, "Hi, Lisa." She walks in, she ignores her. She's like, "You want to be friends with?" But
it's not the first time Lisa's done that. Didn't she do that somewhere? Yeah.
But she's
Heather,
so dismissive. Right? Yes. But she's so dismissive. Like it's a little rude. It's rude. If somebody did that shit to me, I wouldn't even try to engage anymore. I would just be like,
or I just turn around and be like, "Hi." Talking to you.
No.
Lisa is a mean girl. She is a mean girl. We're already seeing her true colors right now. Look what she did to her own friend of decades. That's what she did to her own friend. She's going to cancel this charity event. It's not just some party. It's a charity event for her child and people like her child. So I just felt like if you can't think that deep and you're just thinking about yourself, then that says a lot about your character.
Well, I mean,
or lack thereof.
I don't think you're wrong about that. But also, before we go, did you have any thoughts on the fact that Jen Shah comes over, cozies up to Mary Cosby, and says we need to get the kids and our husbands together to do a cookout?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the actual? Mary doesn't like your ass. She just shat herself on camera and said it was because of you. She doesn't like you. She doesn't want to go over to your house and do a cookout. And Mary's looking at her like, why are you next to me?
Mary's going to see that interaction, though. I'd like to see that their interaction and their fighting is more interesting to me than Lisa Barlow and Whitney. At least with one thing I have to quote respect about Mary Cosby is that she's willing to get into the mess and also bring the weird. I like seeing the weird.
Ronald Richards is in the room and he said Jen is on bond. All right.
Okay.
She is a potential felon. Why would she want her spending family time with her? Mary Cosby. Yep. Nope. I agree.
Good point.
Honestly, I want to see the conclusion of, though, because we don't need to be talking about it for one more episode, is the Jen Brooks thing. I'm glad we're sitting them. Sit down. Let's wipe that away. Like, Brooks looked like he's going to call her out a little bit, but at this point, like, I'm just tired of hearing about it. Not like it was right what she did or wrong what she did. Like we understand, but at least they're sitting down, and I want to see how Jen reacts. Is she going to flip her shit like she does, or who knows? We saw a calm moment.
She won't flip on Brooks. She won't flip on Brooke. She'll flip on the women, like the other women, but she knows. I mean, she's still smart about filming. Like, even though she likes her sometimes erratic, heated moments, she's not going, like, she knows she's going to get a lot of shit for this, especially the Twitter. And now everyone is saying that your Twitter account with your verified blue check mark is liking shitty things about each one of us. Now she's really kind of backed into a corner. So with anything with Brooke, she has to kind of eat a little bit of crow here. And I think that's what she's going to do. Speaking of which, guys, we will be going live with Ronald Richards today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because he's going to tell us about Jen Shah's new documentary. Well, it's not technically hers, but it's about her and her life. Very much so like The Housewife and The Hustler. I'm so curious. I want to know more. I want to know the details because The Housewife and The Hustler gave a voice to the victims. It was so interesting to watch the build up when they first started the documentary. And they're like, Erica, glamorous life, paparazzi. This woman spends $40,000 a month on glam. Then boom, cut to the victims. And I was like, this was genius. And it really had everyone talking about it. And it made people passionate about the scandal.
And can you ask Ronald, why wasn't he a part of the original Housewife and the Hustler? That would have made a lot of sense. More than Danielle Staub.
And that intro,
I think that's
that
fair.
entrance,
especially if you're going to have somebody commentate on it. Like, I would love to see, because Emily D. Baker, she covers a lot of like the Jen Shah and Erica Girardi. I would like to see, Ronald Richards is obviously a part of the case. I would like to see someone who knows what they're talking about as opposed to Danielle Staub. And no offense towards Danielle Staub, but she was like, I've met her once. I was on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I got kicked off the show. My claim to fame.
I worked at Shakers too.
Yeah, I worked at Shakers too. Like, I have nothing.
Different decades, of course.
Ronald Richards said, good question. I will address on air. I have a feeling he's going to say, though, obviously, if he's a part of the case, there's not much that he can tell us. Anyways, with that, we will be coming back on here, guys. In about 23 minutes, we'll be talking about 90 Day Fiancé. So that'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we're going to take a break. We have an interview in between. I'll be posting it later. And then we're live with Ronald Richards at 2 p.m. Kempire, thank you so much. Kempire's about to go out with his friends.
Come on.
Did you meet a potential 90 Day Fiancé the other way?
I mean, Kempire's moving fast in the streets of Amsterdam.
I have friends that live here in Amsterdam.
We know you do, Kempire.
Oh,
we know you do. All right, Kempire. Thank you again, because I know you're super. Well, I was going to say super busy. You're super busy, but you're also settling in. I don't know how the hell you're still awake, but I appreciate you joining us, especially after StreamYard failed all of us yesterday. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can you let us know where we can find you really quick? Watch this, guys.
Of course, you guys can follow me subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kempire Daily, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. And a new podcast episode will be coming out this week when I hopefully have an opportunity to record it here in this lovely studio.
Wow, that was a lot. He talks a lot.
It's not a lot.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, Jason?
You can find me at Down with Jason, and that's it. I'm still getting it together. So, once I have my jive and I can come up with a nice catchphrase like Kempire or Adam, then I'll use it.
And then you'll use it too often to where people say that you need to stop using it because it's getting redundant.
Or maybe it's just one person. Whenever I ask you on my channel, where can we find you? You're like, oh my gosh, guys, let me tell you all about it. And you're like 5 minutes and I'm like, let's go.
I didn't
wrap
bring
it
you
up.
to my channel to criticize me. So with that, guys, we will see you in 20 minutes. If you haven't smashed the like button, go smash the like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed to Kempire and also Down with Jason. See you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.